In this video I'm showing how I replaced a set of rollers on the sliding glass door to our patio. The old rollers had been squeaking for quite a while, and this door had become very hard to open and close, so it was definitely time to replace the rollers. I started by taking the door off the track. To do this, I just lifted up on the door so that it would clear the track at the bottom, and then I just wrestled with it for a while until it also cleared the track at the top. And then I leaned it up against the wall so that I could get to the rollers. Now for a quick look at the underside of the door, you can see the first roller here. This roller probably wasn't really doing much, judging by how scuffed up the bottom of the door is. It was probably just scraping back and forth in the track. There's only two rollers in this door, the other one is located at the opposite end. At the bottom of the door on each side, I had two screws. One was for adjusting the height of the roller. If your situation is different than mine and your rollers are actually in good shape, but the door is still scraping and difficult to open and close, you might get lucky and all you have to do is adjust the height using this screw. But mine were junk, so they had to go, and to do that I had to remove this screw, and then these two screws at the other end of the door. Then I used a rubber mallet and a scrap piece of wood to hammer on the frame that runs up the side of the door, and I just had to move this far enough so that I could get the roller to slide out of the frame on the bottom. I'll admit that I felt very uneasy doing this, and halfway expected the glass to explode at any moment. As I was tapping on this, one thing I noticed was that the seal at the other end starts to get kind of weird. It didn't cause any problems, I just had to get everything lined up before I put it back together. Once the frame was moved far enough, then I had clear access to the first roller. Removing it is pretty straightforward. The roller is held in place by pins on the side, so I used a screwdriver to pry on the frame just enough so that those pins would clear, and then the roller popped right out. I'm guessing this door and the rollers were the originals from when the house was built, so they were in pretty bad condition. So I took that roller and made a trip to my favorite Big Orange store, and eventually found my way to the roller aisle where they had a whole selection of these things. I picked the model that looked the most like the roller that I took out of the door, and bought four of those guys at $5.28 each. And they looked close enough to being identical, I guess. So I went back with my screwdriver and pried the frame just enough so that I could put the new roller in. Then I got the seal at the other end fitted onto the glass so that it would neatly fit back into the frame. Then I used the rubber mallet and the piece of wood again to tap the frame back into place. Then when I went to put the screw back in place that holds the frame to the roller at the bottom of the door, I found that it didn't fit.
You gotta be fucked.
This is a familiar feeling. It seems like no matter the project, there's always some kind of unexpected landmine buried, and the only way to find it is to just start walking around. It's not that I really expect any sympathy or anything, I just hope that I'm not alone. So second trip to the Big Orange Bastard, where they're starting to recognize and judge me at this point. This time it's a quick trip to the fastener aisle to pick up some washers and some screws that will fit into the new rollers. When I went back to work on it, I found another minor snafu. On the old rollers, the adjustment screw was on the top, the mounting screw was on the bottom. On the new roller, this was reversed, the mounting screw is on the top, and the adjustment screw is on the bottom. Unfortunately, what this led to is that I had to pound the frame back out of place one more time, so that I could use my drill to widen the hole for the adjustment screw. If you have to do this, just be careful to not hit the glass with a bit. So with that hole widened, I tapped the frame back into place. Then I grabbed a screw and a washer, and I put it through the other hole at the bottom of the frame here, and tightened it into the new roller. As for the two screws at the top of the frame, I put those back in place as well, and that completed replacing the first roller. Then I flipped the door over so that I could get to the second roller, and I found that this side was exactly symmetrical to the other side, two screws at the top to remove, and one screw at the bottom. Same thing again here with the rubber mallet and the scrap piece of wood. I put it against the frame and I pecked on it just enough so that the roller could slide out of the bottom. I used a screwdriver again to pry on the frame and pop the roller out. And then I used the same method to install the new roller. Since the holes were similarly flip-flopped on this side as well, I used the drill again to widen the hole for the adjustment screw. And then pecked the frame back into place. And again used one of the screws and a washer to fasten the new roller to the frame. And then I put the two screws back in at the top of the frame here, and at this point both rollers had been replaced on this door, so this guy was done. I was eager to test it out, so I went ahead and put it back on the track, and the difference was immediately noticeable. It used to take two hands to muscle this door open and close, and now I can do it with one finger, so I'm living the good life. The rollers on the second door weren't quite as bad, but while I was up and moving around and had my tools out and felt motivated, I went ahead and replaced them on that one as well. There wasn't really anything additional to share, so I'll just fast forward through all of that. While I had both doors off, it was a good opportunity to vacuum the track, so I went ahead and did that. Then I put both doors back on their tracks and made sure everything was sliding okay. I did have to raise the doors up a little bit for the locks to match up, and I did this using the height adjustment screw. As you turn the screw to the right, it pushes the wheel down, so when it's in the track for the door, it lifts the door up. Anyhow, that's pretty much all I have to share. Good luck if you're doing this same project, and thanks for watching.